Welcome to the Averland video guide for the Pioneer BDP-320 Blu-ray disc player. We're going to talk through this unit's features, its setup menus and its connections. Pioneer BDP-320 is the second Pioneer Blu-ray player with BD Lives, which has 1 GB of internal memory for storage of BD Live content. Moving into the front of the unit here, you can see the power button on the left hand side, and then as we move across, you see the usual navigation buttons you expect on a Blu-ray player: skip backwards and forwards, pause and stop. You can see there's a very high gloss front panel here designed to match the LX series of amplifiers and of course the plasma televisions. It's a centre loading disc tray, you can see just in the middle of the screen there with the open and close button just to the right, and on the bottom right of the player is the main play button. Moving into the rear of the unit here, the first thing we see on the left hand side is the Ethernet port for BD Live functionality. Next to that is the USB port for the expandable BD Live content storage, and then your HDMI out. You also have a optical digital output along with analog video and audio outputs as component composite and left and right audio. The control input is the fan of the unit, and then your figure of 8 power connection the right hand side. Okay, now we're going to take you under the lid of the Pioneer BDP-320 Blu-ray disc player. Now you can see the main power board on the left hand side as we're looking at it. I'm just going into it there. You see the small heat sink. This is the orange board, and then move across to the back and you can see the rest of the power connections at the back. There's the main capacitor for the unit. Moving across the back, and you're just coming into view now is the video processing board. You can see the HDMI connection there in the centre of the screen. The USB and LAN connection is the processing for the unit. And then coming into shot now, you can see the 1 GB card for the BD Live content storage. And then centre of the unit is the disc tray. You can just see there. Okay, moving on to the menus of the unit now. You see the Pioneer screensaver to start. This is the initial setup, which will happen when you first plug the unit in. So you just select the language of the player. Obviously we want English, so I'll go with that. And then normally you would set this to HDMI and HDMI, but we've gone with analog video as we're outputting directly to our camera. And you cannot output audio from HDMI if you're not outputting video HDMI as well, so we'll just set that to analog audio to match. And then the aspect ratio you want to choose. We'll stick with 16:9. Then proceed, and it will take you through the rest of them. It will set a test tone, volume level for the unit, and then that's the completion of the setup there. Moving into the menu now. The initial setup, which is where most things will be done. There's the video settings. You can set your aspect ratio, as we just did there. Whether you want that 4:3 or 16:9, then the settings for the 4:3 output. You can see there's some options greyed out here, which would normally be highlighted, accessible. But because we've selected to composite video outputs, unfortunately it's not accessible. But you can see here we're still taking you through the menus of what would be available. And this is again because we've selected analog audio outputs. HDMI settings again, I mean the high-speed transmission defaults to on, but as it states it can't be used because we're not actually using HDMI at the moment. And then there's the Curo link, which if you've got a Curo plasma you can, much like the CEC control, turn the units on and off. And that PQLS is for reduced jitter audio playback when paired up with a PQLS compatible Pioneer receiver. It stands for Precision Quartz Locking System. And then the networking setup, you can use the remote to manually set your player's IP address. Just show you how to do that now. Obviously just literally just type in the numbers on the unit, so 192.168, and then it's just, you know, the default beginning to an IP address on your network. So, and we'll just go that far, but it's very simple to do. And then you can set if you're using a proxy server or not, like so. And also, it just displays your network configuration, and then it will do a connection test. But as we're not actually connected to the LAN right now, this will fail, as you can see. And then there's the various language settings, which are fairly self-explanatory. Obviously we want to leave everything in English because that's where we are, but you can set the default thing, so if you wanted to set the subtitle language to default to German, then you could do that on there. Moving back into the playback options, the type of still image displayed, whether it's automatic or the field or the frame, and then whether you want the secondary video or angle indicator on or off. So your DVX registration code, which for this unit is displayed there, and then priority playback for hybrid discs, which layer it's going to look at first, and then priority playback for BDMV or BDAV if both on a disc. Moving into the data management section now, and this is for the BD Live content storage. So you can go in and erase certain data if you want to, or applications, and then you can format the storage as well. And as I mentioned before, this is expandable via the USB port on the rear of the unit. And then Setup Navigator is that initial setup we saw earlier. So if there's something that you decide you want to change on that, then you can go back into that and do that all the way through. As you see there. Just go back into that menu. There's also a parental lock, which you're going to see here is the password. It's very easy to set. Just literally, again, using the remotes, just put in the numbers there. And the age limit for all discs as well. And then the other options, similar to the initial setup, but it sort of breaks it down into the component parts. So you've got the video and analog audio, which we set to, if you remember at the beginning, the on-screen display on or off, and then the screensaver on or off, which again we saw at the beginning, the small Pioneer logo fading in and out, and then the software update, which you can do over the LAN, but obviously we're not connected, so that's not going to work. And then going back out of here, on the update information, you can see the current software version, which is 3.13 on our unit, and then more instructions as to how to update the player. Okay, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video guide to the Pioneer BDP-320 Blu-ray disc player. If you'd like to see some more video reviews or to see the rest of the Pioneer range, please visit our website www.avland.co.uk. Thanks very much.